What's up, family? As always, I let off my authentic thoughts, perspective, and insight, and we just here to have a conversation. And you guys let off your thoughts down in the comments. Get this video a big thumbs up. So, the government funding bill has been passed. A funding bill has been passed, signed by President Biden, with 366 voting in favor, 34 against, and one member voting present, resulting in the government being funded until mid-March of 2025. If you don't believe me, check this out.
On this vote, the yeas are 366, the nays 34, one member voting present, two-thirds being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
There you have it, folks. The bill passage is considered a good outcome for the country, with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson stating that he was in constant contact with President Trump. You guys will hear that in a minute throughout the process, and that Trump is happy with the outcome. However, the bill does not include an increase or suspension of the debt ceiling, which was something President Trump wanted, because we all know that with Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and President Donald Trump and Doge being incorporated and auditing the government to see where our monies are going, but also, as we know, Trump advocated and is advocating for a lean government, right? So he didn't want to increase the debt ceiling, but however, decrease it. But look, there's pros and cons to everything. The pro is the government doesn't shut down. The con is, unfortunately, the debt ceiling request President Donald Trump wanted, that didn't necessarily be a satisfactory in regards of what President Donald Trump is trying to do. However, check out Speaker Mike Johnson, what he had to say.
I was in constant contact with President Trump throughout this process. Spoke with him most recently about 45 minutes ago. He knew exactly what we were doing and why, and this is a good outcome for the country. I think he certainly is happy about this outcome as well. Elon Musk and I talked within about an hour ago. And we talked about the extraordinary challenges of this job. And I said, hey, you want to be Speaker of the House? I don't know. He said, this may be the hardest job in the world. I think it is. But we're going to get through this. We are going to unify this country, and we are going to bring the America First agenda to the people beginning in January. We cannot wait to get started. I hope you all have a great holiday.
Well, there you have it, folks. Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed that he spoke with President Trump and Elon Musk about the bill, with Musk discussing the challenges of being Speaker of the House. However, he also mentioned that there were rumors about Elon Musk running for or being the Speaker of the House and Mike Johnson not running again for Speaker of the House. But Elon Musk is not considered in taking that position. He's nowhere near considering it. But however, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries stated that the bill's passage is a victory for the American people and is a win for President Joe Biden. And he gave credit to the House Democrats and President Joe Biden. Check this out.
House Democrats have successfully funded the government at levels requested by President Biden in order to meet the needs of the American people in terms of their health, safety, and economic well-being. House Democrats have successfully fought for families, farmers, first responders, and the future of working-class Americans. House Democrats have successfully fought for $100 billion in disaster assistance in order to make sure that those everyday Americans whose lives have been turned upside down in terms of hurricanes, storms, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, and other extreme weather events can get the assistance that they need to address the problems they've been confronting. House Democrats have successfully stopped extreme MAGA Republicans from shutting down the government, crashing the economy, and hurting working-class Americans all across the land. House Democrats have successfully stopped the Billionaire Boys Club, which wanted a $4 trillion blank check, by suspending the debt ceiling. in order to enable them to cut Social Security, cut Medicare, and cut nutritional assistance while providing massive tax breaks for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. This is a victory for the American people. We have successfully advanced the needs of everyday Americans, but there are still things to be worked on, and we look forward to that fight in the new year.
Now, that was Hakeem Jeffries, basically saying that the Democrats fought the bad guys, and that is the Republicans, bad man Trump, and Elon Musk, for those who are trying to enrich the wealthy and basically not care about the everyday Joe American, right? And this bill passage has sparked controversy with the 34 House Republicans voting against it. But basically, that's what they're trying to use. And some Democrats pushing a new narrative about the influence of Elon Musk and the X platform. And the thing is I find it very funny because these are the same individuals that like to run into the Victim Olympics, and this is why we have to get off the Democratic plantation, people. You know why? Because these are the people saying they're fighting for the everyday American Joe, or everyday Americans, or average everyday American, but they're so out of touch in regards of the everyday average American that at the end of the day, they don't know that public safety is a concern, and also inflation. And if you continue to tax, and continue to do frivolous spending and also indulge in proxy wars, which in return is going to use more tax-paying citizens' dollars, which then raises the cost of living because we have to pay for these things as an American taxpayer. So these are the same people, I love to say, they project. So they'll say, oh, the Republicans do this, and accuse the Republicans of the very things that they do, but they're fighting for the everyday American, right? But they can't even acknowledge that the public safety and how they jeopardize the public safety all the way back to Kamala Harris and to Joe Biden and the Biden administration that he's so busy giving credit to in regards to passing this deal to save the everyday American people, when they won't even acknowledge the border crisis that they have caused in opening the border. So, however, they have a new narrative to push, right? Because they have this thing, 34 House Republicans, Speaker Mike Johnson is saying that we all work together, but 34 House Republicans voted against the bill. Now we have individuals, and it ramps up new narratives for the Democrats, or the hypocrites, I love to say, of Bernie Sanders and others basically pushing a new narrative about the bill, which we will debunk in a minute. But check out what Bernie Sanders had to say, because the Democrats are trying to spin this recent bipartisan deal as a win for President Biden, despite the fact that it was the Democrats who made concessions, not the Republicans. But check this out.
Take a deep breath and appreciate what's going on here. The wealthiest person in the world, who spent at least $277 million to elect Donald Trump in a Republican Congress, has now claimed complete ownership of that party. And what you're saying is, hey, Republicans, forget your constituents, forget your constitutional responsibilities. If you don't do what I, Elon Musk, want you to do, you're out of office. And I have the money to do just that. My friends, what we are looking at here has nothing to do with democracy. What we are looking at here is oligarchy. This is up and up. Government by the billionaire class for the billionaire class.
And that's the new narrative that they're pushing based on this recent bipartisan deal, right? And an oligarchy is basically a small group, in this case the wealthy, that they're trying to accuse, or a group of people having control of a country, in this case the United States, right? And Bernie Sanders is claiming that the United States is heading into a oligarchy, citing Elon Musk's influence over the Republican Party, and stating that Musk is using his wealth to control politicians and threaten those who do not comply with his commands, as you just heard him say. And however, it is argued that it is not a new phenomenon, and that billionaires like George Soros, he basically had dark money going through nonprofit organizations basically to move individuals out, and how move individuals out who not align with what he wanted. So individuals that may have been up for re-election or to go into Congress and stuff like that. Basically, you have George Soros, who is biased and basically favor the Democratic Party, and he'll use his nonprofits or dark nonprofits under his business or the George Soros Incorporation to basically have these dark or these nonprofits basically to spread this dark money so it aligns with in favor of his party, which is the Democratic Party, so they can get what they want, as in being control of the House, being control of the Senate. You know what I'm saying? Have a majority of the vote. So this isn't nothing new. If you want to cite that this is an oligarchy, there's nothing new, because at the end of the day, an individual like George Soros and his influence and his money, basically, if you didn't vote the way he wanted, and the money he funneled along to basically be in favor of who he want in the office and who he want in control of the Senate, and basically using nonprofits to influence, to stir it in the direction that he wanted to go into in regards of politicians and so forth being voted in. If he didn't want another opposite party being voted in, or opposite candidate voted in, and he wanted to be biased towards the Democratic Party, money talks. So this is nothing new. Elon Musk is just being transparent with it and like, look, if you're not going in the direction that we going in regards of restoring the trust of the American people with the government and a lean government, get out the way. He just have the balls to be more transparent instead of being quiet like George Soros, going behind the facade of a nonprofit organization to move and funnel money, so it is more leaning towards the biasness in his favor in regards of voting and things going in the way of who he wants to be in office, which is individuals that are part of the Democratic Party. You get what I'm saying, family? You get what I'm saying? I hope you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I hope that made sense. I just wanted to simplify, keeping it simple, right? So it's argued that it's not a new phenomenon. And just like I said, unlike Musk, they do it behind the scenes like a George Soros. But Scott Jennings is countering this whole oligarchy claim by pointing out that the United States is already living in a period where the rich have been having significant influence over politics, and that is not unique to the current situation. Because we all know these campaigns, right? Usually a typical politician, they'll do one thing and say another. And we also know that they will somewhat cater, as I like to call it, shareholders, basically a community of individuals who are donating enough money to their campaign. They will break off them favor. Oh, I'll do this for you if you donate to my campaign, like a George Soros. So they go under these nonprofit organizations, under their incorporations, from wealthy individuals to say, here, if you donate to our campaign, you'll benefit off it in some way, shape, or form when we get in office, right? But we're going to see Scott Jennings and Van Jones have the conversation where Van Jones tried to run this narrative just like Bernie Sanders and Jeffries, saying, oh, they're trying to fatten the pockets of the wealthy people, and all they care about is the wealthy people, in this case Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and this is their narrative they're going off of. Check out what Van Jones and Scott Jennings basically counteractive and putting him in his place.
There are big fancy college words called oligarchy, plutocracy, that folks tonight might want to look up. It's called rule by rich folks. And that's what we're dealing with. A bunch of rich folks, two rich people threw a fit online and threw the government upside down. That is not good for America. Now, did the bill go from big to little? What happened is that the bipartisan deal that got struck by elected officials of our country were overthrown by two billionaires throwing a fit, and it's not even January.
Scott, what's your take on that?
Well, if Van is concerned about unelected officials running the government, I would invite him to review the last 4 years of the Biden administration and maybe pick up the Wall Street Journal this week. We've apparently had a president that's so diminished that his staff has been hiding it from the American people and making key decisions on behalf of our government, despite never having been elected to anything at all. So if you're concerned about it tonight, maybe take a look over the last 4 years. Look, I think ultimately all's well that ends well. The government did not shut down. We're not in any kind of crisis over the holidays here. And when the Republicans get sworn in January and Trump comes to the office on January the 20th, they're going to have to come together as a team and decide, are we going to work together or not? That's ultimately how you get things done in a legislative body.
There you have it. So at the end of the day, like I said, the Democratic Party like to say, oh, the Republicans are doing it, but they're the accuser of the very things that they do. So the Democrats can do it, but the Republicans can't do it. But then the Republicans aren't doing it. That's the thing. And to substantiate my point, you know how the Republicans aren't, you know why the Republicans aren't doing it? Because they want to push this narrative of, oh, the Republicans now, and this is the second narrative. The first narrative is basically, oh, it's an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy, and the United States is where the rich has significant influence over politics, and this is not unique to the current situation. And Van Jones is criticizing the influence of billionaires like Elon Musk, and saying like, look, they basically didn't care about elective officials in the process. Basically, their wealth took over the direction of why this bill is the way it is and why it got passed. And this isn't the way it should be going based on the best interests of the American people. And Scott was like, well, look at how they lied to the American people and said Joe Biden was competent. He's not even competent. He's Sleepy Joe. He's not even there. He's aging out. He's physically there, but not mentally there. My man can't even articulate himself very well. So at the end of the day, that was the first narrative. Now it's the second narrative, because they're saying basically, oh, the Republicans have shot down the cancer research for kids. That's how evil they are. And they don't care about the American people. They care about their wealth. Check out the second narrative.
Republicans
from
are
Hakeem
marching
Jeffries.
America.
I'm going to rewind it. This is Hakeem Jeffries.
Republicans are marching America to a painful government shutdown that will crash the economy and hurt working class Americans, because they would rather enact massive tax cuts for their billionaire donors than fund cancer research for children.
There you have it, folks. So now it's this cancer research funding controversy, right? Where Democrats are accusing of spreading a hoax that Republicans did not want to fund cancer research for children, specifically blaming Elon Musk for the reduction of a bill from 1,500 pages to 116 pages. But this is the hypocrisy, right? Who had control of the Senate? Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, right? So how can Elon Musk and his wealth just shoot down a cancer research funding bill when the Democrats have control of the Senate and their leader is Chuck Schumer? They still have control now. So the bill is this whole, they running with this hoax in regards to running around this cancer research funding controversy and for children. Now we have Elizabeth Warren also adding to the nonsense and her delulu hypocriticalness. And this is why the Democratic Party will continue to lose elections. And this is why they continue to suffer the way they do.
Because, for example, what this bill says is, oh, let's get rid of funding for research on pediatric cancer. Let's get rid of funding for research on early detection of cervical cancer and breast cancer. Let's get rid of funding for research on children with Down syndrome and on sickle cell anemia. Let's get rid of those things so that we can make way for tax cuts for billionaires. That is Elon Musk's notion of efficiency.
There you have it. So the bill in question was reduced in size by a standalone bill for child cancer research funding passed the Republican-controlled House in March, and got held up in the Democratic-controlled Senate, right? And like I said, the Democrats have control of the Senate. So how did the Republicans shoot it down? So Elizabeth Warren and others repeated the lie that Elon Musk and Republicans are blocking funding for cancer research, despite the fact that the bill was held up in the Senate. And look, Elon Musk actually, he did respond. Let me see if I could find Elon Musk, because he responded to the accusations, basically calling Elizabeth Warren. He lied. He just said, ha, and called her Pocahontas. If you don't believe me, I could look it up for you right now and show you guys in real time. And I found it hilarious because these are just ignorant fools. And this is why we the people can do our own research and we're more informed than ever. And at the end of the day, this is why legacy media is dying, okay? Because if we just focus and we just got our information from these CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, we will be in trouble, folks. You know why? Because at the end of the day, they will lie to us and we will cite them as individuals that is basically informing us, and we're trusting them to inform us on the truth, but they're not. They're too busy still being biased to the Democratic establishment and the establishment in itself. As you know, as it says, Hakeem immediately repeats the lie from Elon Musk. And if I'm not mistaken, I forgot. I think I'm not too. Here we go. He says, lying Elizabeth Warren, aka Pocahontas. That was Elon Musk's response. Okay, folks. However, Elizabeth Warren in the media for spreading misinformation. And this is Fox News also that spreaded the misinformation.
And the American public, to your point, they voted for a streamlining that involved spending cuts, which weren't in this bill. They weren't in the bill before, and they're not in this as well. Also, you say the people wanted this. The richest man in the world wanted this. Elon Musk did, and programs that came out of it. What's your problem with a bipartisan cancer research program for $190 million? A drop in the bucket of what this is. Those are the kinds of things that came out of this. And the reason that people and the American public.
Well, there you have it, folks. And also the audio is not on my end. That's how the video is. It's one-sided through the left side of my headphones. So if you guys thinking it's me with the audio, it's not me. However, basically, Elon Musk responded to the misinformation. And this is why, like I said, X is considered the #1 source for news, with community that that has a community that allows for correction and real-time debates, making it a more trusted source compared to controlled media. Because Joe Rogan even echoed this sentiment, stating that X is the most trusted source because it allows for community corrections and real-time debates. And if you do not believe me, then check this out. Here we go.
Elon?
No, that's not it. Sorry, family. Here we go. Check it out.
You know, there was
the X is the #1 news source on Earth.
Yeah.
On Earth. It's the most trusted because it's the only one that's not fucked with.
Yep.
So even if someone's incorrect, the community notes will correct them.
Yep.
The community notes are rock solid. It's a great way to find out what's real and what's not real. And then you look in the comments and you see people debating it. And it's happening in real time. And it's happening whenever something breaks. And it's way better than what you're going to get on corporate-controlled media. It's way better.
Elon Musk buying Twitter was at least as important.
So there you have it, folks. So the media, specifically MSNBC, is in denial about X being the #1 source of news and struggling to adapt to the new information ecosystem. So check out what they had to say in response.
We have never been here before. And Jim Vandehei, you've got new reporting out this morning for Axios about the government funding fight and how it captures the power and flaws of what you call the new information ecosystem, which is in many ways Elon Musk and X.
I mean, this is your future foretold. You might like it, you might hate it, but it is. Like, you now have Musk controlling the dominant organ of the Republican media industrial complex. There's nothing close. He single-handedly, with his tweets and his followers, killed that bill. There's no doubt about that. I think the aspirational part of what he's saying probably is a good thing, right? Like, we do spend way too much money as a country, and the process by which we do it is often asinine. And I think that was like the fundamental thing that started this. But now you do have somebody who, at least in this interim period, is arguably the most powerful person in politics and is totally unelected. So now Republicans are seeing they got the benefit of Musk in winning the election. Now they're going to have to deal with the consequences of having a media infrastructure that can put pressure on them to force members to instantaneously change their votes. And make no mistake, that's what happened. Go back and look at X, at the number of members of Congress who went on and genuflected before Musk to say, I changed my votes because of what you said.
The problem is, family, that these legacy media outlets are so out of touch, and they basically operate in the echo chamber. And they don't care to be open in perspective. They don't care to even have the best interest of the people and just reporting the news for what it is. Instead, they're so busy, infatuated with posting misinformation, thinking and anticipating that it's going to in turn create ratings and views, because that's all they care about. However, they want to basically be biased to the establishment, which is the Democratic Party, and run off of lies and spread messy propaganda or drama, and the way I look at it, at the cost of American people. And people are more informed than ever, and they can look up this stuff and basically fact check you. That's why these legacy media outlets are so obsolete. But however, Scott Jennings explains that the key factor is not Elon Musk's tweets, but rather the reaction of people who are now more aware and engaged due to the technology and holding their representatives accountable. So check this out, family.
Elon Musk, it's not the tweets, it's the reaction. I talked to a member of Congress today who told me that when the tweets started, immediately people from their own district started calling and asking questions about, what are you spending my money on? What's going on here? It's not the tweets. It is how people are reacting, and when they find out what's going on in Washington, then they pick up the phone. It's not the tweets, it's the people. So you say it's not about the people. I'm telling you, the people were flooding the congressional offices with calls today. There's something to be said for that being part of the process. And is it a little messy here at night? Fine. I don't have a problem with messiness. They'll get something done eventually.
But what
Elon Musk.
Okay, so there you have it, family. Basically, the situation is seen as a cause and effect, right? There's a cause and effect to everything. And the more legacy media lies and pushes narratives, the more the independent sources will rise and be in demand, such as content creators and podcasters, etc. Right? And that's why they will continue to thrive more than ever, these content creator podcasters, because people just want the truth and transparency. Just tell us how it is, right? But it is what it is. Comment down below how you guys feel about that. Do you guys agree or disagree? However, that was basically Elon Musk. And that's why, this is my point again, they continue to lie to the American people. And Elizabeth Warren repeats that Elon Musk and Republicans block funding for child cancer research. A standalone bill, cancer research funding, passed in a Republican-controlled House in March and got held up in the Democrat-controlled Senate. Democrats block funding for the cancer research. So this is a prime example of the lies and these narratives that they push, which is the legacy media outlets. However, Joe Biden has been criticized and always been criticized, Sleepy Joe, for being silent on the issue. And however, they will sit back and basically cover up for each other while the others be silent who really need to be speaking. And in this case, Sleepy Joe, you would think that we have a leader, but we don't have a leader. As Scott Jennings said, the whole time you said Joe Biden was competent and told us the American people, and he's not. That's why he's just vanished and disintegrated in thin air. However, family, let me know how you guys feel about this video. I hope you got some value from it. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know you guys' insights, thoughts, and perspective, and how you feel about everything in regards of everything that went down and went on and popping. On that note, family, peace.